happy or you're content. Because you can lie and say, oh, I'm having sex with this person and it's just friends with benefits. Oh, I'm just having a hard time in my marriage and I'm having an affair. But that doesn't really lead to a happy ending for either party. And I feel like people are lying when they say, oh, I'm just benefiting, but there's no consequences. I think they're lying to themselves. I've talked to many people and I see their lives and it's just in shambles because you're not taking just what he said in a foundational way, like your bricks, what you're laying forth for yourself and generations to come. And I would say I don't agree. So I agree with him on that point. I don't agree that sex is marriage because I think that the mindset of people from this century is really kind of corrupted in terms of when they're overeating or it's over sexualized, and then people are not doing it in a healthy manner. And so when you attach marriage, which is something sacred, it kind of throws me off a little bit because I'm like, sex by itself, I understand that that's the culmination of the union, but people are not doing it in a righteous or a way that is productive where they're benefiting humanity and the animals and nature, because you're really not paying attention to how you are as a person and how you behave in those situations, whether it's immodesty or you're not taking care of each other. And then we get into these misconceptions and this confusion that we have now where everybody's, like we talked about before, Enoch, broken families and broken communities. So I don't know.
Well, I don't know, but I just wanted to put that as one of the fundamental principles of being a man. A man needs to know what he's doing with his chastity. We always focus on the women, but it's for men also. Because what you do to women, like you say, these are the bricks that you're laying as far as the foundation to the community that you're building. And so what you're doing to the women has an immediate effect on what's happening to you. So a man can't go out here and be doing indiscriminate things with women and then come back and say, these women are a problem. Well, we're creating the problem that we're living in. I don't want to get too stuck on that, but do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I want to ask you a question on that, because that is kind of like an imbalance, because people are always saying, oh, she's a bitch, or she ain't no good, or he ain't no good. But when the man is not chaste, can you explain that? Like what does he turn into? Is he really a man, or is like you explained in the last video what a man is? He has leadership, he takes accountability. Like, how does that relate to sex? Having sex with multiple women, or having sex without the intention of, knowing his role? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, so it's like we listen to the music, you know what I mean? We have the conversations, people like Kevin Samuels, they have these, they have their shows, their YouTube videos and stuff like that. The problem is that we can't say one thing and be doing something else. You know what I mean? So if we're trying to become whole people and build a holistic society, then what we have to first do is look at how we're affecting people. So when you're intimate, now, for some reason, today, intimacy is not sacred anymore. It's like everybody wants to do it. It's not a big deal. You know what I mean? From the time you're in high school, things are happening. However, these things affect people, and they affect their ability to be mentally stable over the long term. Because if you're doing certain things to a person, people have a tendency to get used to it, and it just has a psychological effect that does not improve the person. It actually degenerates the person, right? So intimacy is a regenerating process. It's not a degenerating process. We've turned it into something that is degenerating. And when you plug in a generator, that's giving energy, right? You put the gasoline in there, you start it up because you're trying to get energy out of it. We're not trying to put the gasoline, light a match, and blow the generator up. You know what I mean? We have to understand that what we're talking about, you can't say you have a problem with women, but then you're going out turning women into hoes. You know what I mean? This is a big issue. A man has to be chaste. Whatever woman that you're dealing with, or if you're dealing with more than one woman, that's another topic, then you have to be responsible for that person. And if you can't be responsible, then you don't need to be doing it. And especially if you have children. I don't want to go too much into
Yeah.
that, but the point I'm trying to make is, as far as what I see is, because women, a man is here to protect women, right? That is one of our fundamental responsibilities on this planet. Men have to protect women from other men, okay? So we can't live this dual life. You're out smashing these chicks off on one hand, and in the other hand, you know what I mean, you're in church on Sunday, you're at the mosque, you're at the Buddha temple, whatever we might be doing, and you know, you're in this holistic state of mind. You know what I mean? No, these things have to be addressed, and these things have to be like so many other things.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think that that is very important, because when we talk about, like, it's a game. How are you playing the game of life? And is it fragmented, or do you have pieces everywhere? Do you have people you've been married to, whether it's a religious ceremony or you're sexually married to? So I do agree with that connection. If your mindset is, every time I have sex with a woman, or every time I engage intimately with a woman, even if it's not sex, the intention is, I'm going to protect her from other men, because I'm going to know that she is a part of my what do you say?
Yeah,
She's part of an empire.
She's a part of what of my constructive environment. She's a part of my constructive environment.
Right.
The environment that I'm creating, okay, so that people are safe, so that people are taken care of, so that people are managed properly. So
So yeah, so it's basically like, people love watching football, they love watching basketball, but when it comes to relationships, you're not really playing the game right. You're kind of like, she's a headache, he's a headache, and let's just have fun, you know.
right,
So
it's like these things are very disposable. However, this is one of the most important things that you will do with your life. And I'm not claiming that I'm a saint. I'm saying that through my mistakes and through my, you know, I guess for lack of a better, philanthropic behavior, you know, I did some things that I regret, but those things are a part of me for the rest of my life. These things, some of the things I've done in my past, I don't look back on and say, man, I'm so glad I did that, because they weren't holistic, and they weren't really fulfilling. You know what I mean? And they did not produce, you know what I mean, the outcomes that I wanted. And you carry this stuff with you for the rest of your life, whether you like it or not, whether you like the person or did not like the person. You never forget. It never really goes anywhere. So you end up sharing people's sacred spaces with other people around you that you may not necessarily have chosen to share them with. You know, I mean, so moving forward, this is something that we have to understand.
yeah, I think definitely, and I think that if you're like a practicing religious person, you believe in the sacredness of marriage and things like that, there's still a problem there, because we have so many times where people are not focused on, like, I'm going to go back to what I said. The role of men and women is to build something. Why are we separating that from, like, our health? Why are we thinking that we can have these broken families, broken communities? Shahrazad Ali talks about it. She's like, there's some drastic things that men have to do to women, and a
Black man's guide to understanding black
a
women.
black
Yeah.
man's guide to understanding black women. A lot of women get upset at that book, but she's basically being very aggressive with what, and talking to women and saying, stay in your place, meaning that you have a role. And people, we have all these things, feminist actually movement, which I'm completely against. Is there's a lot of people that were part of that and are now going away from that concept, because they realize that it is a celebratory place to take care of your kids, to take care of your man, because this is your provider and protector. So how great would we be as women if we looked at our men, no matter what, as the kings, as the providers, as the protectors, next to God, so that we praised them and empowered them and had good thoughts, and we didn't allow ourselves to be taken advantage of by men who didn't do this. And a lot of us don't have fathers. A lot of us don't have. I didn't grow up with my father, but to have that sense that you are sacred womb, and you have to build your man up, and he has to do the same for you, we would really feel better about our sons and our daughters.
Absolutely. So just some other points that, we'll save that for a later discussion, but just some other points about men. Men create stability. Men give direction. Men set the moral code for what's going on in your neighborhood, in your community, in your village. Men are problem solving. Okay. Men solve problems. Men are builders and developers. Men keep the health and the fitness. Men have space for other people's problems. They're not impulsive. Okay, we're proactive. Men spend time organizing productive things with other men. Men make sure that the work we put into our kids and our families growing up is given back to us when we get into our latter days and when we get into our older age. It's like you raise your children, you feed your children, you take them to all their soccer practices and all the things that they do as young kids. And then they grow up and go out and get a job and help somebody else's empire get rich. No, men organize those resources and understand the social capital of having children. You know what I mean? And are organizing that around what the community needs. I mean, hey, we need mechanics. One of your children should be mechanic. We need accounting. One of the kids need to be accountants. You know what I mean? We can't keep going out giving our resources away and then complaining about the so-called white man, whatever that means, is doing these things to us. So this is what men do. Men are stable. Men are protectors. Men should be taking self-defense classes, not just to protect themselves from the things in their own environment, but protecting themselves from the things from the larger environment, being able to protect their families from things that are not that are intruding in their environments. Men should be studying civil law. We have to become intelligent people. So,
Yeah.
and if you want to give us some points on, we talk about, just want to try to not be all over the place, which we've got some criticism about that. So I'm going straight. I'm trying to go straight in and make points more clear. We're still new to this, so we're as we go along, we get better. But I'm trying to drive the points home, so we kind of get a better understanding. And the point for this is we're trying to build a bridge with all the other people with like minds, so we can begin to build, better outcomes in the future.
Right. Everything's a process, guys. But no, I think that's good for this one. We're definitely going to get into this topic a lot more. But we're talking about greatness. We're not talking about, a lot of times you have videos and podcasts that talk about like how to solve the problem. You have to solve your own problems. We're just talking about the problems in a positive way so that we can be great. And I would say I've said everything that I want to say about the role of women for today. And next time we'll talk about maybe some specifics about how women should be thinking and behaving so that our men are great. And for you women out there who are like, oh, well, I don't think men are all that. Well, if you have a son or you have a brother, think again, because the same attitudes you have about your man are the same attitudes you're going to have about your son.
Facts. And your brother and your uncle and your father.
Uncle, exactly.
Facts.
And so that says something about you.
Facts. Okay, well, that's what we'll deal with today. We'll try to keep it short and sweet. Plus, we have tight schedules. We thank everybody for watching. We appreciate your participation. Leave comments in the comment section, and we'll see you next time.
All right, make us great again.
Make us great again.
Give us the comments. We love the feedback.
Peace and wellness to everyone.